Hi, it's Helen Tarrant. Welcome to another episode of Commercial Property Roadshow. We're here in Maitland looking at a property. Here's Stephen.
Hi.
We're here actually doing a inspection with a client, but we brought our trusty new DD person along, Jerry. Yes. It's raining, which according to Stephen is
It's always a good time to do a building and pest inspection in the rain because something we've discovered is 80% of the problems that happen in buildings happen because of water leaks through an old or rusty roof or badly maintained gutters. So when it's raining, you get to see firsthand what's wrong with the building. Now, in this particular case, we can see that the gutters are rusty and you can actually see daylight through the gutters. So the eaves in this particular case, you can see the paint bubbling, which means water's flowing through it, and that gives you a pretty good indication that it's rusty. We then went on to near map, and it's very clear that the whole roof is brown. So this building is built in the 60s. My guess is it's got the original roof, and that means that it's time to put a replacement on. Now, a lot of people are scared about that, think, oh my God, a new roof. But don't be. A new roof in something like this is probably $25,000, $27,000. The building's around just under $1 million, so we're talking 2.5–3%. And for the next 40 years, this building will be perfectly watertight. So over 40 years, we're talking about $800 a year. Now, most of us spend more on coffee than that.
Absolutely. Well, come in and let's have a look inside, and I'll also show you some photos of the roof and the leaking eaves, because that's all part of our inspection. You mean these cracks? These hairline cracks?
Okay.
That's just...
The rule with it's just the render. The rule with cracking is if you can fit a business card in it.
The aircon has been replaced?
Yeah, the aircon's been replaced with the ducted, I would say. They've been eating.
Event. The pipe's sole purpose in life is to let air into the sewerage system.
Oh, okay.
Right? So what happens if that wasn't there, when the water comes down, it sucks all the rest of the water out of the toilets and makes that noise. So that pipe is known as the stick pipe, and its sole purpose in life is to let air into the sewerage system. If your question is, am I worried about that? The answer is no. Am I worried about the fact that the timber door frames are rotting? Yes. But in the grand scheme of things, it's $2,000, $4,000, $5,000 to fix it. Because there is no drip groove.
Right.
That's it. What you're supposed to do is just inside the concrete slab, you're supposed to have a little groove. So that the water comes along and drops off. Is that going to make any difference? No.
this is the alleyway. Oh, there's a con.
Question is it surface rust?
Looking forward to getting a couple of those.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, not sure if my true present there.
Oh, good. How is it down there? Oh, what's down there?
Corridor and the bathroom.
Yes. Is it
The
right?
bathroom is what's known as in original condition.
Renovator's delight. This is what we call a renovator's delight.
Female, male.
So are they staying or are they leaving? Are they staying?
They've got a lease for another 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. It looks.
And how's life in financial planning?
Very busy.
We've just come out of an inspection of this advisory group and an NDIS tenant upstairs in Maitland, and it's drizzling at the moment, so it gave us a great chance to see the inside. We haven't seen any leaks, we've seen some stains, but not some leaks. Upstairs tenant actually just moved in about a month ago, and so it was vacant for a bit beforehand, but being in there, they seem very well settled, and because they deal with children therapies, it's looking like with 3 years, with 3-year option, they're most likely going to stay and be long-term tenants. Also around the area, we've got car park across the road directly. We've got professional tenants there. We've got the high street further up, and we've got this little bit of medical centre here with pathology and of course professional type tenants, and we've got Woolies further down the road as well. So as we're doing the inspection, we'll obviously go up and down and have a look at the properties around here and check out how many vacancies there are. We're also going to go and do another inspection of another property which is similar in price further down in High Street a little bit later on today, just to compare the leasing and as well as compare the area and can walk along and compare the vacancy and the state of the building in comparison. Now this property is going for auction. It's trending at the moment at about a bit over 7.5% yield at about 950,000. That's what the circuit is, and of course it could go for more or less at auction, and usually at auctions it's going to be an unconditional contract with settlement within 30 to 60 days. So having said that, is this building a good buy? Well, compared to what's on the market at the moment, and that if you're looking at after a freehold property, so freestanding property, if you're after a freestanding property, then there's not a lot to choose from at a yield above 7%. So even though we're in regional, we're in a large regional area like Maitland, one of the fastest growing cities in New South Wales, so that in time, if you held it for the long term, it's likely that the yield will increase and also the value of the building will increase as well. One of the other things to consider with this property is that you may need to swap out the tenant downstairs, because the downstairs tenant is a little bit older and they've been there for a long time, but it looks like they're also selling their business, and which means that in 2 years time they're probably unlikely to stay, but you'll need to swap over the tenant. But I don't think it's going to be a long time for you to swap over the tenant, because it's all professional tenants along here and it's very accessible for parking and professional type tenants as well. So with that in mind, I hope it's happy bidding, because there's about 3 or 4 bidders that's going to come to the auction or put in an offer, and in the meantime I do think it's a good solid property and definitely worthwhile considering. So, but if you need a hand and you want to find out more about how to get into commercial property, reach out to me at Helen at Commercial Property Cashflow or helentarrant.com, or just simply join my Facebook page, Successful Commercial Property Investors, and I can give you some tips on how to successfully invest in commercial property. And I'll post that link down below so you can join my Facebook group. And in the meantime, hit the bell and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye for now.